Hello, everybody. I'm still Sunday Adelaja here, back to you to talk about reconstructing Nigeria and Nigerians. For us to be able to reconstruct Nigeria, and we'd have to reconstruct Nigerians, first of all. And to reconstruct Nigerians, we need what we call national reorientation. We need to change the mindset of our people. We need to start a whole program. I heard there is a ministry or agency that is in charge of national reorientation in Nigeria. I don't see their work. We really need to take national reorientation very, very seriously. National reorientation needs to take, it has to be the task of everybody. All the stakeholders, all the social organizations, NGOs, pressure groups, schools, universities, primary to secondary to university level. Everybody needs to begin to, work on changing the mindset of our people. Media organizations and Nollywood, educational system, private individuals, businesses, everybody needs to, because right now our mindset as Africans and as Nigerians has remained like in the 5th century. People are no more thinking the way a lot of people think in Africa. It's like we are still backward, and we will remain backward until we change our way of thinking. Reorientation, national reorientation is changing the way the country thinks. So reorientation is all about change. And change is the inner process, is an inner dimension and diversion from previous flow of thought and choices, because our thinking leads to our choices. The way we think is the way we will behave. Our behavior today, if we are behaving in a corrupt manner, in an unprogressive manner, is because our thought process have not been changed. So reorientation is changing and diverting our previous flow of thought in another direction, in the direction of growth, development, and civilization, so that we'll be able to make the right choices and we'll be able to, do the right thing. And our outward behavior will correspond to the changes that has already taken place inside of us. If there is no change first inside of people, there will be no outward corresponding actions. Our actions will never change. Nigerians will never behave better. We will never produce more. We will never be able to build a country that is capable of competing in the world if we don't start by changing our orientation as a people. We need to change our value systems. We need to change the way we think. We need to be able to imbibe new values and virtues. These are the virtues. After imbibing the values and virtues, they are the ones that will now be demonstrated afterwards. After they are grounded in us, then they will be demonstrated outward in our behavior that will be seen by all and appreciated by the world. But it all kind of change starts with national reorientation, and we have to we have to come up with a list of values and principles that we want our people to learn and to grow into, and we need to begin to propagate this in everywhere and use every major outlet and to be able to do this. So every change that we need in our country must start from the mind of our people. For us to be able to produce more, for us to be able to do manufacturing, for us to be able to compete, for us to be able to get employment for people, we need to first of all change their mind. We need to begin with mind cleaning, reorientation. We need to be able to plant new values, new virtues into the mind of our people. Development will not be possible in Nigeria and Africa as a whole if we don't first bring development to the minds of our people. If we don't bring understanding to them about the world they are living in and that the world has changed, if we don't bring the new understanding of the future and of the new world that we are living in, nothing will change. We need to teach our people that the world has changed. We are living in a new world. They need to divorce themselves from the old mentality that they used to have towards life and towards labor, towards education, towards culture. We need to change everything. There is a need for us to be able to teach our people to get mental skills, to not be lazy mentally, to be able to have values that would develop their their mind, their mental capacity, their subconscious mind. And we need to teach them about the need to study, to travel, to get education about new technology, about the future. We need to teach them to think in the future in terms of futuristic thinking, to have foresight, to be able to have creativity. We need to put quality into them, and that will be able to make them to respect themselves, to be able to know why they must work hard, and why work is beneficial, and why work is a blessing and is not a curse. We must be able to change their mindset towards work, towards labor, towards hard work. We must bring new knowledge into them, fresh knowledge that will be able to meet the demands of our modern world. That people did it already. We can study the values, and I've spoken about this, the values that make America great, the values that made Europe great. Let's take some of those values and learn the best practices from other countries. Like, for example, somebody could say, well, let the government do it. It's the government. Well, let's look at America. When you look at one man that is called Henry Ford, we all know the Ford cars. That man totally changed the culture of America, especially in relations to labor and in relations to standard of living. He single-handedly said he's going to make Americans begin to ride in cars, and he's going to make every American to have a car. And he's changed America from the consumer culture and they built industries. They changed the people's attitude to work. America used to be a consumer-driven culture before then, just consumer culture. They don't want to create so much. They didn't have too much industries, and they were not too much involved in the process of production and industrialization. But this man changed the consumer culture by fast-forwarding the process of industrialization in the whole country. So even citizens can, participate in changing the culture and bringing about national reorientation. So we can bring about mental shift, even through what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing about mental shift. I'm bringing about reorientation of the country through talking, through education. So don't just let's wait for presidents or for the government to come and change us. No, let every individual stand up and begin to bring change to this particular aspect or area of life where you have passion. Maybe you have passion for family. Come and begin to teach people, spread the word. Maybe you have passion for women, for men, and begin to talk about it. Bring about mental shift to people, mental reorientation to people. If we could bring about mental reorientation to people, if we could change the mind of our people, make their minds to be willing and to be creative, if we are able to teach them about the future, about the modern world, the civilized world, how the world reasons, we'll be surprised at how much people themselves will grow. People themselves will become, developed in their thinking. They will begin to bring about ideas. They will begin to bring about prototypes, creativity. We can plant the seed of change into the mind of people. If we could change people's mind, we'll be able to change our nation. But don't let us wait for government to do this. Let us, begin to do what we can do by ourselves. If you have access to media, use the media. If you have access to education, use education. If you don't have access to anything, use families, target families, your own family and other people's family. Let's begin to bring persuasion. Let's begin to bring reorientation. Let's begin to, teach these values that we are learning even on this platform to our relatives, to our friends. Let's begin to teach people who are close to us to have personal convictions, to know the values that bring about development and civilization, to change their thinking system, to change their attitude towards life, to be able to embrace progressive thoughts and progressive principles. And we will see that the nation will change. But of course, there is a great power in the religious leaders. If pastors and leaders and churches all over our country will begin to embrace these values that bring about growth, development, Stop telling people that they can serve God only when they go to church. Let's begin to tell people that no, there is dignity in every neighbor and that they can serve God wherever they are, socially, at work, and no matter the kind of work. Let's parents stop telling their children that they have to become doctors or lawyers or engineers. Let's begin to tell people there is dignity in labor in every confine and area of life, and that every work should be respected, and every work is making somebody to become co-creators with God and to be able to, is to adding value to other people and to the nation as a whole. Let's begin to propagate the right values. Let's begin to propagate to people that we know. Of course, if the government will join, it's good. That is, will be faster. The government is supposed to have, have a system and a structure and a plan and program for schools, from primary schools or from kindergarten to university. They are supposed to have orientation programs for all parastatals of government, and they are supposed to send out this clarion call to non-governmental organizations, schools, media, entertainment industries, to be able to bring the real values of development that we are talking about here every time. Let them bring it, talk about it. Let political parties join. Let them make values and value orientation as part of their programs and as part of the core of their activities as political parties. And let them make the value system their priority, and let them begin to propagate for value system and change mindset, reorientation of people, not just campaign for votes and and that is their only interaction with people, but let them begin to speak about the principles that bring about nation building. And these are the ways we can change people. And if we change people, our people will be able to change our society as well. But, let's get the parliament also, let's put pressure on the parliament to begin to, to enact laws and, that will embrace values as part of the fundamentals of growing a nation. Let them come up with a list of values that our nation is being built on, and let them enact a law that will make everybody, it will make it compulsory for everybody, every organization, to live by those values, to embrace those values, and to practice them. So we need to do something urgently to change the mindset of our people. National orientation is the beginning of nation building for us where we are right now, because we don't have the foundation. We need to start with the fundamentals. If the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? So the foundation is value orientation, national orientation towards value. And when we get these values right, when we embrace the values of development, when we are rich in values, we will become rich as a people. When we are great in values, we'll become a great nation as well. Reorientation is not just the work of the government. National orientation must be the work of each and every one of us. So please, if you want to get more of that, go where is it? There is it, right? Go and look for this book. It's called You Are Born to Make Your Nation Great. You Are Born to Make Your Nation Great. Look for that book and use it, and you can learn more about this subject there. You will be able to use it to bring about orientation for people, to reorient people around you, and to teach them about the values of development and civilization. Well, that will be it for today. Thank you for your time, for the love of God, church, and nation. Peace.